So we're looking at the reading part of English Level 2 today, and we're starting off with the main points of text. Unit. Let's go onto the PowerPoint. Now, the aims and outcomes of today will be, by the end of the session, you're going to you're going to be aware of ways to read and locate information. You're going to be aware of different reading skills, and you'll be able to find information using structural features. So at the moment, you should be able to use different reading skills on a regular basis, and you could use different reading skills all the time. So to be honest, you're probably doing this without even realizing you're doing it. So we're going to watch a video now. Now, this video, whenever I play videos in sessions, some of you can have audio, some of you can't. If you don't have audio, don't be worried. What will happen is when I send the recording through to you, you'll have a clear audio onto that also, and you can watch it independently. But fingers crossed, you should be able to hear. So this video is just about reading to find information. It's only a couple of minutes long. And again, if you do have a bit of a noisy background, please mute yourself and then unmute yourself if you have a question to ask. Thank you. So I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes. So we've had a few more students just join us. So we've got Ali is here, fantastic. Good morning. And I've got somebody under viewer 7. Could you type your name into the chat box or let me know what your name is, please? So you've not missed much. We've just looked at a video about how to find information when you're reading, talked about skimming and scanning and what the differences between these are. So skimming is just to get the main gist. So from gist would mean just the main idea of what the text is about. Scanning is to actually get specific information. And some tips for reading to find information are: don't read the whole text, use pictures as clues, look at the titles and headings, use subheadings. You might have bullet points or bulleted lists, so look at those, and look at the words that are in bold. So for finding information, we've got to match the skill to the definition. So when we're doing, we've got skills on here, and we've got meanings on here. We've got skimming, scanning, reading for detail, topic sentence, and subheading. So on here, you've also got tells you what a paragraph is about, a word, phrase, or sentence used to introduce part or text, finding the gist, reading slowly and carefully, and finding key information. Can somebody tell me which one skimming will match?
Finding
key information.
Yeah, finding the gist is the first person said, so that's right. Skimming is to find the gist.
Okay.
It's okay. And you said finding key information, so that's not skimming. What could it be instead? Yeah, fantastic. So skimming, finding the gist. Scanning is finding key information. Well done. Reading for detail, which one would this match? Would it match?
Carefully.
Yes, fantastic. Well done. So reading slowly and carefully. And then, oh, hold on. I've got a little tool here. Why don't I use that? So skimming, finding the gist. Scanning was finding key information. Reading for detail was there.
Reading.
So topic sentence, what is this?
Tells you what a paragraph is about.
Sentence.
Beautiful. Tells you what the paragraph is about. And then subheading.
A word, phrase, or
sorry, no. We've got one of them is wrong.
Already?
Yes, no. We just mixed one of them up. Let me just do. That's me not paying attention. Oh, come on. There you go. It'd be helpful if I could like to make lines, couldn't it? Finding key information is there. Reading for detail is there. Topic sentence and subheading.
Tell you what.
A word, phrase, or because topic sentence is just telling you what it is. And then subheading.
Yeah, tell you what paragraph is what.
There you go. Fantastic. So there. Brilliant. That's really well done, guys. You're doing really good on here. Get my arrow back. Get that there. There you go. So text types. So at level 2 functional skills reading, you need to be able to understand and read a lot of different types of documents. And to be honest, you probably do this on a daily basis. You might go into school with your children or your nieces and nephews, and you might have a letter or a leaflet. That's a different type of thing there. You might end up getting a text message, an email. So examples of these are articles, so newspaper articles, letters, an appointment letter, just an information letter, a bill, emails, reports. You know, like you might have a child in school and they might get a class report saying this is Stephanie has done this, that, and this is how she's doing in school. You might get extracts from online forums, so just little pieces of information that you might search for something and you'll get. So, for example, if I'm searching for what are the signs of appendicitis, then I might end up finding on Google an online forum and they've got a little paragraph on there that will tell me what are the signs of appendicitis are. And then you've got blogs. So these are the different types of texts. So we're going to look at finding information using structural features. So there's different kinds of text will give you different kinds of features that you can find information on. So it really depends on what sort of the information that you're looking at. Now, if I'm looking at an assignment that somebody else sent in, for example, if Nancy was to send me in an assignment for her healthcare course, she'll probably at the beginning of it give me a table of contents. There'll be subheadings. There might be an index in there. So it really depends on what you're looking. So you might end up looking at a book. At the beginning of it, it'll give you a table of contents saying chapter 1. And then it'll say what chapter 1 is, and it'll tell you what page it's on. Chapter 2 will tell you what page is, chapter 3, and so on. Then you might have subheadings. So you might have a piece of information, like an article that you're looking at, and it might be about COVID. And there might be a section about COVID itself in general. Then under it might have a subheading where it says infection rate. And then it might have another subheading saying vaccination. So under those subheadings will be information. You could have an index. So that's similar to table of contents. It just gives you an idea of where things are. You can have a menu. A glossary is normally at the end, where it tells you what particular items were, or if you ever see those textbooks that if you're doing particular courses, you might have at the end, you want to look at person-centered care, and you go into the back, look at the glossary, and it'll tell you information on person-centered care is on page 20, page 45, and page 66. You'll have an appendix, you'll have tables, and you'll have text boxes. So these are the different types of structures that will help you find info. Now, the second part of this, what sort of text or documents are likely to have these features? So, table of contents will be in books and reports. An index will also be in books and reports. Menus might be on websites. So, even if we go into the menu that we're on here, when we say menu, I don't mean in menu as in when you're going into a restaurant and ordering something. Now here is a list of menus here. So you've got all these tabs at the top. Now if I was to click on one of them, I'm going to click on specialist courses. And under it will be a whole menu of courses that I can click into and see what I want to do. So that is what I mean when I'm talking about menus. Glossaries are in books, reports, and websites. Appendices are in reports. Subheadings are in a lot of things. So books, reports, articles, websites, blogs, they can even be on letters. And text boxes are on books, reports, articles, websites, and blogs. Now, I'm going to read this to you, and I'd like you to read it for yourself in your mind as we go along. Then I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I'd like you to answer those. So, something to help us find information. Now, the paragraph is, motor oil picks up a variety of hazardous contaminants when used in engines and transmissions. If used, motor oil is released into the environment. It can harm humans, plants, animals, fish, and shellfish. In water, oil is a visible pollutant, floating as a scum on the surface. This can stop sunlight and oxygen from getting into the water, affecting fish and water plants. It can kill fish, frogs, and other animals that breathe from the water surface. Low temperature burning of used oil can create airborne pollutants, which can get into people's lungs and have adverse health effects. So we're talking about motor oils, engine oil and so on, and how bad it is for people and the environment. So how does motor oil pick up contaminants? Can somebody answer that? It's in the first sentence. Okay, I'm going to do my popular picking of people now. So, Anna.
Hassan.
Motor oil pick-up containers when used in engines and transmission.
Well done. That's exactly how you would answer that. So you got the question, how does motor oil pick up contaminants? And you would use that sentence. Motor oil picks up a variety of contaminants when used in engines and transmissions. Well done. So let's see who else I've got now. Actually, I'll just ask first. How does oil in water affect the environment? So can I have Ikhlas? Can you answer this question? It's in the second paragraph.
Second, this stops sunlight and oxygen.
Yes, it can. And it affects. Who does it affect?
The fishes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Fish and water plants.
Well done. Yeah. So how does oil in water affect the environment? It stops sunlight and oxygen from getting into water, so it affects fish and water plants. And then it will obviously, you can also write, it can kill fish, frogs, and other animals. And then last question, what can create airborne pollutants? It's the very last sentence, if you look.
Low temperature burning of used oil.
And what effect does it do? What does it have on people?
It affects people's lungs and have adverse health effects.
Well done. So even though it just says what can create airborne pollutants, you told us low temperature burning, but then you told us what effect it can have, and it gives you an extra edge on your answer.
Okay.
So well done everyone, that's fantastic. So we've got another information finding here. So I'm going to read this paragraph and I'll tell you what the questions are to start off with, because that normally helps a lot more. So the questions are, what is a new street butchery? How does the writer rate the food? And why is the restaurant no place for vegetarians? Now, whenever I do any tests, so when I previously used to do any comprehension or grammar tests, I would always look at the questions first, read the paragraph, and then while you're reading, it actually helps you understand what you're looking at. So we've looked at the questions, now let's read. So this paragraph, the New Street Butchery changed ownership a month ago. As the name suggests, the focus is on meat. So it's no place for vegetarians. The menu is meat, meat and more meat, from homemade rabbit and duck charcuterie to boar and venison. And the bellies, breasts, loins and legs from practically every part of the animal kingdom. For meat lovers, there is a wealth of choice. It's not perfect, but it's good. It's good to see the butchery remain in good hands. So, first question, what is the New Street Butchery? So its name in itself lets you know what it is.
Meat shop.
Yes, fantastic. A meat shop. Well done. So New Street Butchery is a meat shop. So, how does the writer rate the food? What does the writer think about the food?
Good.
Yeah?
Good.
And he uses something else just before he says it's good.
It's not perfect, but it's good.
Yeah, fantastic. And then why is the restaurant no place for vegetarians?
Because it has meat.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done. See, so all of you have listened to the paragraph and you've been able to deduct all that information that it's a butcher's. The person who's rating it thinks that it's not perfect, it's okay, it's good. And then why isn't it a place for vegetarians? Because they only sell meat. Well done. And then one more, finding information, part 3. So the questions for this one, I think this helped a little bit more, was why were firefighters called out? Question 2 is, how did the firefighters help? And question 3, what happened to the detainee? Name 2 things. Now, the detainee is the person who gets caught. That is what a detainee is. So, firefighters were called to the Nottingham police station on Sunday after a detainee using the public telephone room at the station allegedly tampered with the room's sprinkler head and caused considerable flooding. So please remember, if you don't know a particular word, let me know what it is and I'll explain. Now, we isolated the water supply to the station, then helped mop up, a senior firefighter said. There was water 50 millimeters deep in the hallway outside the telephone room and in the room itself. The detainee was drenched. Police have charged him with criminal damage. Is there any words in here that anybody wants me to clarify? Nope. Okay. Fantastic. So, why were firefighters called out? Nancy, I've not heard from you for a little bit, unless I've not...
No, I've been talking.
Oh, have you? Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm still going to pick on you, Nancy.
No,
Why were firefighters called out?
I've been participating very well.
So what do you think? Why were the firefighters called out? What did that person do in the telephone room?
The person tampered with the room sprinkler head.
Yeah,
and then
well,
caused considerable flooding.
Fantastic. So somebody went in. So detainee is a person that's been caught. They've tampered, they've messed about with the sprinkler head. Fantastic. So how did the firefighters help? Can somebody answer that?
Firefighters isolate the water supply to the station.
Mm-hmm.
Then they help mop up.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done, both of you. So they disconnected it, isolated and disconnected are the same thing, and then they helped to mop up. And then what happened to the detainee? So tell me 2 things that happened to the person that was caught.
He was drenched, and then he was charged. He was drenched and was charged for criminal damage.
Well done. You would all get full points for this. So very, very well done. See, it's not as difficult as it seems. When you see a paragraph in front of you, sometimes you think, oh my goodness, this is too much information, but just split it up, go back in. And as a rule, when you're doing assignments and tests, the questions normally follow the paragraph order. So if you've got a question at the beginning, the answer won't be in the end, it'll be towards the top. And then underneath it, it'll go in some sort of order. So quiz now. Right, so a few questions, and I think I have how many questions? 1, 2, 3. I think I've got 4 questions on here. So what is skimming? Can someone tell me what skimming is?
Finding the gist of a text.
Fantastic. See, I don't even need to show you this now. There you go, that's right. Skimming is to find the text, gist of a text. So the gist, remember, means just an idea, an overview.
Okay.
Second question, what is scanning?
It's a quick reading.
Reading to find the information.
It's a quick reading and to find information.
The information.
Yes. Let's see if that is. So reading to find key information. Let's see. Yep, scanning is quick reading of the text to find key information. Really well done. Now, third question. The topic sentence in a paragraph is it always first? Does it give details and evidence? Does it close the paragraph, or does it give the main idea of the paragraph?
Give the main idea of the paragraph.
Well done. Yeah, you're right. It is D. So the topic sentence, it just gives you the main idea of the paragraph. It can be the first sentence in a paragraph, but sometimes it might not be. It might be the second sentence. It might be a little further on. And then your last question on this. Okay, When would you need to read slowly and carefully? So A, when you need to know about what a document is about. B, when you find a key piece of information. C, when you need to find detailed information. Or D, when you're looking for a page number.
C.
Well done. Yeah, you're right. When you need to find detailed information.
Yeah.
Perfect. So if you're looking for detailed information, read slowly and carefully, and that is the best way to go.
Yeah.
So the aims and outcomes of this session. So at the end of this session, you should be aware of different ways to locate and read information. Be aware of different reading skills. Be able to find information using the structural features we talked about. So you might look at the content, a menu, or a index or a glossary. You might look at headings and subheadings. You should be able to use different reading skills on a regular basis. So you might be reading a text, or you might be reading an email. Like I sent an email out yesterday with all a few emails, a million emails probably yesterday telling you what each session was. Then I sent out another email, which was a summary. So you'll be able to look through different documents and focus on the key points and information. So on the summary, you'll be able to say, right, today is the 20th. This is what my code is. But for next week, for the 27th, this is the code that I need to include. So on. And then you could use different reading skills all the time. So to be honest, you probably are using a lot of different reading skills without even realizing it. Even when you're reading your messages or your emails or you're picking up a book and reading them, you're using a lot of skills. You might be skimming and scanning through them. You might be looking really quickly. You might be distracted by a family or a noisy environment. So you're just quickly having a scan through something. So you will be doing this without even realizing it. So we've completed this module for reading. Next week, we'll look at the second module. Now, what I'll be doing is, at the end of the session, I'll be sending some work to you. First one is this. I'll be emailing this off to all of you soon. I have a document. I'll send it in Word format so you can just type it in and email it back to me. So what is skimming? What is scanning? What is reading for detail? And what does the subheading tell you? And then it's got, actually has answers there, but try doing it without looking at those answers first. And then I'll be sending you an activity also, which I will be marking this. So you'll have to email it back to me. I'll give you my email address soon. So it's got, tells you what the activity is. So finding key pieces of information. Then you've got an email here. You're going to read that email and then you're going to answer some of the questions that are at the bottom. And remember, I'll send this again in Word format at the end of our session. Let's